Pals for Life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Pals for Life. Pals for Life is weekly radio for anyone who wants to enjoy World of Warcraft with some extra pals. We've got your commentary on news, rumors, and a special segment we like to call The Boss Fight. Today is September 28th, 2014. My name is Wilson. I've got good news for you guys. He's back. Today I'm joined by Randall.
What's up, guys?
Lane.
Hello.
And Nano.
What's going on, guys? Good to be back.
Drumroll. Welcome back, dude.
Thanks, guys.
So, let's jump right into this. Our Spellbreaker topic is the finale to the Lords of War cinematic series, Maraud.
Maraud, I love it.
Maraud.
Well, first of all, I think Trevor totally called this one. He sent in some mail last week of just indicating who Vindicator Maraud was, and lo and behold, this week we got Vindicator Maraud.
Freaking psychic, man.
And, fun fact, he's also the guy from the Burning Crusade cinematic, in case you weren't able to put that together by this point.
Also, Trevor's information.
Any initial thoughts on this, guys?
When I first saw it, I don't know what I expected. I expected it to be a little less, I guess, gruesome, so to speak. It was pretty rough, man, like when I first saw it, but I still really enjoyed it, of course. I mean, I loved it. The Lords of War is like my favorite thing about Warlords of Draenor coming out, but I think the biggest thing was whenever I saw that he had the Hammer of the Naru, I lost it. Just because, especially cool. Like when it glowed and things like that, it was just awesome. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But
I'm
also
curious.
gives some insight more into the lore of the Draenei, because you really don't know too much about them, but besides what we know of when the Burning Crusade came out. Now, in one of the books that I read, it was basically the Rise of the Horde. That's actually what the book is called. Really good book. But it talks about how the Draenei and the Orcs, they used to be fine with one another, and then everything just goes to catastrophe. So it's like I got to see the beginnings of how everything is going to play out in another way. It was awesome, being able to see how everything's coming out and how everything's going to be. And it's not exactly what I read, which is even better, because it's going to be a whole second side to what could have been. So I was just really excited to watch it.
So I'm curious, actually, speaking of, it was called the Hammer of Nar, right?
Yes.
His weapon? So in the game, does it talk anything about, like, why it's cracked? Because I assume it's cracked because, he cracked it over that guy's skull. But, does it talk anything about the game? Like, I don't remember if there's, like, lore segments for the things you pick up, but it doesn't say anything about that?
No, in the Hammer of the Naru, I just knew because it was actually a drop from, I think, Groll. I think, guys, right?
Yeah, it is a pretty legit hammer, though.
Yeah, but it's just an item that I remember having in game that I used for a what's it called? Whenever you make your weapon look like it, I completely forgot.
Transmog.
Yeah, and
man, he's been out of it for a while, ladies and gentlemen. Dang.
It's like that, man.
Even Lane knew what it was, and he hasn't even resubscribed yet.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I used to have it as a transmog, and when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I used to use that. I took it from him. No big deal. But
it's
just,
pretty cool.
I really enjoyed watching the last part of the series.
Yeah, me too. I actually very much enjoyed how they sort of, intentionally or not, I'm pretty sure it was intentional, sort of made him out to be like an orc there towards the end of it, with his whole bloodlust thing kind of going on. When he after he cracked the guy, you turn around and the dude's got teeth baring and like white eyes.
On his face.
Yeah, like, this dude looks a lot like an orc right now. You're like a blue orc, dude. You should join him. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see him like that.
What I really liked about it, it was all really cool and stuff. I thought that it gave it gave more elements to the Alliance, because up until this point, I think, Alliance is just like, they're kind of like whatever, the light, all this jazz. No one actually cares about their lore kind of thing.
Yeah.
Except maybe Arthas, but, that's kind of a tangent. And, now, with the Draenei and everyone's put in a different light, and, all these characters have different emotions and they can have different feelings, and it's not just like the orcs are these guys and these guys are these guys. No, like every character, and race can, have like separate feelings, and it doesn't have to be based on the race they are either.
Right.
Much better characterization through this the Lords of War series. Really good.
Agreed.
Going a little back to more what Trevor was talking about, he was kind of noticing that in some of the community, people are kind of up in arms that this last one was about a Draenei and not about, another orc like Blackhand or Gul'dan. That's 80% orc and 20% Draenei, and everyone's all mad about that 20%. So I thought it was a really good way to cap off the series, especially if you're coming into this maybe like, you're really interested in WoW and you hadn't played before and you're just following this Lords of War. It's great that you didn't have to have some huge backstory or lore to know how it all ends, because this whole time you've been learning about Murad kind of at a sideways characterization, right? He's the one that's been telling us all about all of these different Lords of War.
I'd have to say I definitely agree with you there, because watching this from the outside perspective, having no idea who he is, I went into all the episodes kind of thinking that he was a jerk, because he's talking to this guy in such a pressing manner about wanting to go to war, and I had no idea what his reasoning behind that was. It's really nice to see in the final episode they're like, oh, this is why this guy wants to go to war. It's kind of like a nice resolution to make me think, oh, he's not really a jerk. He just really wants to, resolve his issues, sort of.
And one of the bigger things is whenever you remember like at the beginning of the end of the actual part, the fifth one, he was like, at first I expected it just because he wanted revenge on the orcs, but he comes out and he's just like, well, it's not because I don't want revenge, it's because I just want to keep things from happening, which I thought was cool because it gives him more of a characteristic of being, well, not bloodlustful, less bloodlustful, if that's even a word. It makes him seem more of a coherent being instead of just like the orcs, and I think that's what helps separates them from one another, which I think puts another cool little spin on it, but that's just the way that I saw it, I think. I don't know.
He has actual goals. That helps a lot.
Exactly. He's not just trying to conquer, he's trying to keep people safe, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's kind of cool also because, they did characterize him as a little more vengeful in that fight scene, but also if you looked at the way he was drawn, he had his teeth became more edged and he actually did take on more of an appearance of savage.
I actually remember the scene where his hair came down, and that one specifically, you look over at him and his hair is down, his head's leaned forward, his shoulders are back, and he's got his teeth out, and you're like, wow, this guy's very intimidating. That's their whole spiel about turning him sort of into an orc right there, I guess.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Definitely so.
Yeah.
The only thing I thought was a little underwhelmed by was that little missive or the little piece of paper that Varian had to stamp.
Boom.
I don't know. Just kind of turned me off from the whole, gravity of the situation.
Let me just put my mark on this piece of paper and then we'll go to war. No problem.
Couldn't we have, a war horn or something?
Wow.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but overall, they did really well with, all five. Now, obviously, as big a lore buff that I say I am, I want everyone that I know to watch these, including my fiance, my sister, and my sister has, she has a little a little experience playing WoW every once in a while. And one question for you guys, that she gave to me was, do you guys wish there was a little more animation instead of just, the drawing, or not the drawing, but,
for how they did these cinematics?
Yeah.
I mean, basically how they used to do it is,
yes,
the way to put it. I do kind of, but, I mean, it's alright. It seems like a lot of games are taking on using the in-game graphic stuff and then, maybe adding some artistic elements on the side kind of thing. Yeah. And that's kind of how the Warlords videos did it, right? They had the in-game graphics for when they were talking.
Yeah.
And then they have that kind of artistic tangent when they went off into Dreamyland. And I do kind of miss them, but I think they did it pretty tastefully. I mean, I think it would have been good either way. Right. As a whole, I miss Blizzard's just all of their awesome cutscenes for a while.
Oh yeah.
But that's, I don't know. I assume it's a budget thing, or not they don't have the money for it, but they decided to put their money elsewhere.
Also, and what I told her, I was thinking honestly, it could be a time thing, because I mean, having
it takes a long time.
That kind of animation, that can take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And
in this case, you only need a couple artists, a rigger, and an editor, and you could get this put together.
Oh yeah, this World Draenor video, they'd be really quick.
Yeah, much easier than a full-blown animation sequence.
Yeah, see, and I got used to how on in Warcraft, the actual RTS, how they every cutscene that you had.
Oh, right.
That was like a big deal. Was animated. Like
right, like full on.
every time.
StarCraft's quite a bit like that as well. But yeah, we're getting out of hand here, but still, yeah, they have a really distinctive style in most of their stuff. I honestly just like that they're very cutscene heavy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll just throw in my hat for a second and just say that I think that, you know, the raw appeal of a really polished cutscene never gets old, in my opinion. But there was a choice on Blizzard's side, I think, to have more of the in-game stuff so that it's easier for the player to relate to maybe what they will be doing in the game. I think that started really with Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think that we'll still be seeing a little bit of both, but for better or worse, Blizzard is kind of moving on to having a representation of in-game cinematics.
Yeah, I get you.
Moving on to the boss fight this week, we've got a change of plans. We were talking a little before the show, and the topic of the Pandaren came up. They're the furry-friendly race in Azeroth, and turns out I'm the only one willing to defend them. So, Randall, Nano, and Lane, what's your beef with WoW?
All right, I'll start this one off. So, when I didn't play WoW, obviously, when the Pandaren came out and the whole spiel of them, Blizzard revealing them and everyone kind of coming up in arms. And the way I saw it mainly, and this is from an outside view, the way I saw it was Blizzard was taking something really out of left field and turning it into something that could be digested by the mainstream public. And I don't really like this approach with WoW, because WoW is extremely fantastical. It has some really cool characters. Like, look at the Draenei. The Draenei are freaking aliens, pretty much. They're aliens with tentacles growing out of their heads and stuff like that. It's awesome. They're totally fantastical. Why the heck do you need pandas in this? They have Tauren, but they've even given those their own place in the game with, the way that they're created and made to look. These dudes essentially just look like big fat pandas. And that's not really bad, I guess, for the game, but it feels like it loses a good amount of the creative direction of the game. You've been doing all these crazy fantasy world things, and then suddenly we're back to pandas. And as dumb as it sounds, it feels like it's pandering in the casual side. I can't really say that because I'm not a hardcore player or anything, but it's like they were trying to give it more, breadth to everyone who watched it. And that's great and all, but it totally lost their creative vision on it because they had such a great world, and then they're pandas for some reason. Next.
Any of you guys have anything to say about this, or should I get started?
No. We still I guarantee you we have too much to say about this. But, okay. One of my biggest qualms that I had with it was I feel like they I feel like they felt that they had exhausted all of their options as far as it came to lore. Now, any site that I have seen of a Pandaren in old Warcraft, the only thing that I remember was a Pandaren Brewmaster, and that was it. There'd never been any extension of Pandaria. There'd never been, anything. Nothing. Not one bit. There had always been trolls. There had been signs of gnomes, goblins even, and worgans, had always been there. But when it comes to Pandaren, it just it threw me for the biggest loop. And people were like, no, it's not real. It's just, I remember they announced it around April Fool's time. And everyone was like, no, it's just an April Fool's joke. It's just an April Fool's joke. And that's what I thought. I was like, this can't be. Blizzard cannot be doing this to me.
World of
I've had
Warcraft
so much
Pandas
faith and so much loyalty into this company. They can't be doing this to me. And of course, I was wrong. Come to find out, we're going to be playing against pandas. But, I guess it adds more of a taste for other people, because some people were excited about pandas, I guess, to some extent anyway. But just to me, it wasn't very appealing. And I feel like it's not like they had exhausted all of their, if you will, creative juices, so to speak. But, that's just me. They could have done better.
Okay.
Next.
So, here's what really grinds my gears about the whole Pandaren thing. Okay, especially gnomes when I'm talking about this, but as a whole too, not just gnomes. And I might be the only one that likes gnomes. You know, that's okay, but, you know, they deserve a little respect, I think. And there are plenty of races that could use backstory touch-ups and just attention as a whole. Tauren are another good example, even. Like, they hardly see the light of day that often. And, that, like, they're always kind of in the backlight, and, you know, they have some cool lore elements that could, you know, be put into an expansion, basically, and then they decide to go off on the Pandaren tangent for God knows why, to, like, I don't know, like, appeal to, like, the East Asian market or something. I have no idea. And, they just, like, decide to totally, like, you know, throw off to the side, like, some of the other races and just, like, go off of that. And now we're back to, you know, more mainstream races again with the orcs. And I feel like, you know, we'll never actually get to, like, some of the races that are less represented. And that really bothers me because I think they have, you know, some cool backstories that could be interesting if, you know, Blizzard would put them forward.
Yep.
Alright, Wolfman, you got something to say?
Well, it looks like I'm soloing this fight. It's me versus 3 of you. But I guess the first thing I want to try to address is I do think that this was a large departure from anything we had seen before in terms of lore, and I think that in terms of like a stylistic choice, this made, you know, MOP feel a lot different than any other expansion before that. I think you could agree that in terms of scenery and stuff, all of Pandaria looks very unique, right?
I have no idea.
I mean,
okay.
I guess it looks like unique and me really liking it are like separate entities, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it looks unique.
I saw a lot of, or not a lot, but a good amount of concept art for this stuff, and it looks really cool from that perspective, like the whole, you know, large mountains, Chinese, Japanese, Asian sort of landscape with, you know, lotus trees and large fields on the sides of mountains, that sort of stuff, you know, places at the top of mountains where you're, you know, training or whatever and that sort of stuff. But I have no idea how that could possibly translate into World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
Okay.
To me, it felt more like a Kung Fu Panda thing.
Yeah, I think the cultural relevance of this and Kung Fu Panda were definitely weirdly timed. Yeah, like I think that created some weird associations. But you know, I mean, from a lore standpoint, they are pandas. Yeah, okay, that's kind of hard to take them seriously. But at the same time, you know, they are depicted as this very kind of peaceful but ferocious when necessary race. And I think that the whole idea of their civilization is really interesting, right? You know, Pandaria was like in its own little thing for a long time, and then, or it was a part of Azeroth, and then like the Burning Legion basically came to the first Emperor Xiao Hao, and he was, I guess, the last Pandaren Emperor in a golden age. But they were able to fend off all of the Burning Legion and then basically retreat to the Mist, and they were hidden away from Azeroth for a long time. So from a story standpoint, they were able to kind of easily kind of insert this by creating that mist and, you know, hiding them for a long time and then basically re-revealing them, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's kind of fun to have this totally different race and you know, of course, a new class. I think every expansion there's always a desire to have new races, not just, you know, old ones that are getting revisited, but a whole new race to kind of re-roll and get new characters on.
Quick question. They're not adding a race in this expansion, are they?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Okay, continue.
I mean, whether you like them or not, I do think that they now have a place in WoW, regardless. It'll be interesting to see how they factor in later. I don't know how well they're represented. I don't think I see as many pandas as maybe I did Draenei or Blood Elves.
Yeah.
Or Goblins or Worgens.
When I think about it...
Maybe Worgens.
When I seriously think about it, like, just in the context of Lords of War, and I think about what's going to happen in my mind, like this battle between orcs and humans, and I just think about all the races standing next to each other. There's an orc, and there's a human, and there's a Draenei, and there's, you know, trolls or something, and then there's a frickin' panda. And I don't get why the panda's there still. And yeah, you know what, their lore's, I'm not even gonna try to say anything about their lore, because I'm sure it's great, and that's awesome. But holy crap, stylistically, they give me the most massive headache of all time. Just ridiculous.
I have to admit that, you know, a lot of the armor just looks really bizarre on the pandas, in my opinion. So I guess I'll give that point up.
Have a chubby physique.
We'll take it.
I think the problem with the pandas is that they don't fit in any atmosphere outside of their own atmosphere, right?
Yep.
So
you know what? Maybe, but that could be also considered sort of a lore thing. They've been alone for so long, and that's sort of the point. But still, pandas.
Yeah, I think that. I guess I'll kind of concede a little more, but I think that like, you know, the idea to really go for this huge flavor pick, right? Because that's what it is. It's a complete departure from basically kind of like a Western fantasy that we've had up until this point to go something more Asian. I think that maybe they definitely could have done something a little maybe more tasteful with not just doing just pandas, but I guess there was a precedent, right, with the Pandaren Brewmaster, so they decided to kind of go full tilt with that.
Maybe so.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
Randall, you gotta say it now.
I think for worse. So I'm just gonna say for worse.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll leave you guys with something that got me really excited. I saw these videos, a while back, but I think they're really relevant now that we've just kind of finished the Lords of War, and they're called The Burdens of Xiao Hao. And basically this is a series of 6 dramatic shorts, not unlike the Lords of War series, but basically you travel back in time to visit that last Pandaren Emperor right before they got enveloped by the mist. So it gave me a lot of insight into the Pandaren, and actually I feel like after I saw that I had a lot more respect for them in general, which maybe kind of softened me up to liking them, because I know when they were first announced I was not a fan, and now I've kind of been okay with them.
You need to learn some respect.
So maybe we can all agree that the pandas weren't the best choice for a race, at least in this group. But I'm sure there are plenty of people who are big fans of pandas.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people out there and probably have like better insight on them than I do. It's just like my given opinion, like knowing what I know, right, and seeing what I see. Like that, I'm just calling it like what I can give. I'm not trying to like take away from anybody that really likes the pandas.
Yeah, I do think what is cool is they kind of challenge our norms of what's okay in like an RPG, because they're not very, idealistic in terms of, like, they're not super brawny or like skinny or anything like that. Yeah. They are what they are. So maybe there's something we can learn from
like gnomes,
All right.
Well,
so
good
little
job.
lightning, little thunder stealing there.
Yeah, good job wiping on that 1 Raider 3 boss raid right there, buddy. Good job.
Raider 3 boss.
1 Raider 3 boss.
I don't know. He definitely had some good insight. I'm not.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the gist of it is lore okay, design, So
I think having them as like the focus was a risky move. So
I think like at the end of the day you have to think like, could there have been better options?
Oh yeah.
And if the answer is yes, then like maybe it could have been rethought. So
okay, that's
hindsight,
fair.
right?
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment, I think. But.
So, and normally I will not be doing content alone. Lane will be the boss normally, but we wanted to kind of mix it up this week.
Yeah. So we all just wanted to jump on Wilson today, so it's just switch it up.
So everybody wins.
Everyone wins. There you go.
Except me.
Except Wilson. So everyone still wins.
Moving on to Tavern Talk. This is basically news and rumors heard from all over. The first thing I want to talk about is Brewfest. It is happening right now, and it is good until October 6th. So, when you guys want to explain what Brewfest is, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it, but maybe just a quick refresher.
I think Eastmont has the best info on it, if I remember correctly. So.
You've been voted.
Well, the funny thing about Brewfest, people, I don't know. Okay, the only reason that I ever do anything for Brewfest is just for the small rewards. May it be the mounts, may it be just the steins, whatever. This year I've got myself the Brewmaster title, which isn't too difficult. But Brewfest, basically, it just enables drinking throughout Azeroth. Because, I don't think a lot of people take the initiative to go buy alcohol while playing WoW.
I bet a lot of people don't even know about it, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it really is just like an Iron Forge thing, it seems like, because obviously the dwarves are known for drinking, fighting, all that good stuff.
In that order.
All the good stuff.
But that's all it really focuses on, is just small lore within, different brewmasters, whether it be a Pandaren brewmaster, which I thought was awesome, because I went to do the Pandaren brewmaster lore questline, I guess. Not really lore questline, but you get to find out more about the specific Pandaren brewmasters, which was pretty fantastic.
Fantastical, as Lane would say.
That's the only thing that I thought was cool about the Pandaren.
Oh, God.
We're now able to have a Pandaren brewmaster. because originally that's where I hadn't heard about a Pandaren. But, that's that. As far as Brewfest goes, there's not much you can do. There's not a lot of quests you can do. I think there's about 6 or 7 quests, maybe. And that's, no, not even 6 or 7. Maybe 5 or 6. And, basically what it is they give you enough tokens to get a few things that you're not really going to use, honestly. Let's be realistic.
Dang, son.
Well,
maybe if you're a huge RPer, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the drinking club.
Unless you're an RPer, I guess. But even then, I don't think you want to wear lederhosen and have a Brewfest Stein in your hand.
You don't know.
There's a lot better things to do with your life, like the Midsummer, Fire Festival, which is a lot better.
Yeah, Wilson.
But,
I'll just call it what it is. It's just Oktoberfest in Azeroth.
Exactly. That's all it is. That really is all it is. It's just a lot of people around Ironforge or Orgrimmar drinking in game. Who knows if they're drinking in real life? Possibly. But
that would be a fun little twist, wouldn't it?
And I think we should try something like that one of these days.
Yeah, Lane, we just need you to resubscribe.
That means Lane has to resubscribe.
Well, there you have it, guys. Brewfest, you can go to anywhere outside of Orgrimmar or Ironforge to find these smaller camps. And I guess you can also get, the Brewfest Kodo or Ram if you go to Blackrock Depths to fight Corundire Brew. So
pretty cool.
Feel free to get in on that. It's happening now until October 6th. The next topic we've got is Blizzard has announced an undelete character function, or feature rather. So you can now undelete a character and restore all of its enchantments, gems, and items fully intact. There are a few stipulations here. Characters under level 10 and Death Knights at level 55 are not eligible to be undeleted. Characters between level 10 and level 29 will no longer be recoverable after 90 days. Characters between level 30 and 49 will no longer be recoverable after 120 days. And all other characters level 50 and above are eligible to be undeleted at any time.
Nice.
Please keep in mind you will only be able to use the undelete option once every 30 days.
It's kind of like Facebook. You never really delete your accounts.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll say this. As far as the under 50, I don't think anyone's going to be deleting their character and then wanting to bring...
Or undeleting.
That's just my opinion, though.
What about twinks? What about some level 29 twink that was super beefed out, has a lot of honorable kills, played during vanilla, maybe is highly ranked?
Think about this though. Well, even if they're highly ranked, it's gonna be. Well, no, I figure it's gonna be characters that are only deleted. Like you said, a level 29 twink. It's not gonna be able to be recovered because it's been more than 90 days. If they've already deleted them,
Yeah, and to be fair, this is going to be a new service that comes with Warlords of Draenor.
Right, so, being a twink at a low level, I really don't think is going to be all that great anymore. Not like it used to be, because back then it was fun. Me and Randall twinked out.
Yeah,
you remember that, Randall?
Yeah, dude, I made a lot of people feel bad about themselves.
Exactly, that's what...
You're one of those guys.
Back then.
Yeah.
Now it's just here's all the leveling gear, go PvP. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's really not all that great. So I don't think there's really a need for this anymore as far as wanting to bring back a character that's been deleted. If they're deleting it for a reason, unless you have a pissed off ex or your parents are angry or something. I don't know.
Trying to make a lot of money on a YouTube video?
Or something like that. I don't know why anyone's going to delete their characters, but...
Yeah, dude, all those videos have lost their allure now.
Yep.
Well, there you go. You can undelete your characters. That's something that you can look forward to in World of Draenor. So if you deleted someone, maybe you can get them back. Another topic, and this is huge, Project Titan has been canceled. So Blizzard's...
Rip in pieces.
Blizzard's big next-gen MMO is not going to see the light of day as far as we know. It's been 7 years, and Blizzard has officially canceled development on this mysterious game. So
I think it was a lot. I think it was just there to have some kind of hype, so people had something to wish for.
Dude, it honestly makes me wonder if they've probably had this decided that they weren't going to do it for the past few years. Honestly,
it's been at least a year. I know I've read some stuff on some forum boards, mostly Reddit, that they've had this thing canceled for around a year, and they weren't sure when they wanted to tell people about it, or they just hadn't gotten around to it. So it's probably been under the rug for a while now.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they did have to reboot development once already, so they basically stopped development and restarted it already once.
That just sounds like development hell to me, so this is probably for the best.
I mean, and I've said this before in a previous podcast, I think, but I'm sure that Hearthstone's doing well, Diablo received well with their new expansion. They have like a lot more stuff going for them, I guess. So there's no need to like push something out new, and then especially since people are looking like they want to play Warlords of Draenor, really liking it. Like I remember Miss Pandaria, I don't think as many people were really excited about.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? It was just a new expansion.
Cautious excitement.
Yeah. And this one, it's got some real excitement to it. People want to know what's happening. Like I haven't, the last time I remember being like really excited about something like this was when I first saw the Burning Crusade trailer, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like gave me chills, like, seeing Illidan.
Well, I thought the Wrath of the Lich King trailer was pretty chilly.
Yeah, Wilson. Hilarious. Chilling.
Another thing about this cancellation.
I'm sorry.
Got it. So Chris Metzen, he's a senior VP of story and franchise development, and obviously you probably know who he is. He's done a lot of voice acting for the game, but he's called this decision excruciating. It's always really, really hard to make those kind of decisions. It was hard when we canceled Warcraft Adventures. It was hard when we canceled StarCraft Ghost, but it has always resulted in better quality work.
Rest in peace, Ghost.
Fun fact.
In pieces.
So it sounds like this is Blizzard, using their experience, their body of experience to make the right call here. And I think people are kind of changing how they engage with video games. So to introduce a whole new MMO is a pretty risky venture because people like a 30-minute play session and to be able to get a lot out of that.
People like what they already know, right? It's easier to stay with what you have than, try to switch to something else and like risk, hating it, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And, they've got a lot of IP too, so.
Yeah, they've got a lot to work with for sure.
Small fun fact. His name, Chris Metzen. Metzen the reindeer is based off of him. Just thought you should know.
Oh.
If anybody was wondering.
Life plot twist, guys. There you go.
Well, and beyond. Well, it's a seasonal thing.
Too spooky for me.
Too spooky.
Fight me.
But.
Well, it's going to be. No, don't take it away. It's a seasonal thing, right?
Right. It's basically it's a play on Santa Claus and his reindeer. And the only reindeer that you actually get to meet is Metzen. Metzen the reindeer. And I'm assuming he's like a Rudolph character, but they can't say Rudolph, obviously. But he is technically the Rudolph of the season. And it's, I forgot what the actual seasonal event is called.
Winter's Veil?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you've been out of it for a while, buddy.
I have no idea, man.
And I'm on point. I'm back.
But the one that I'm waiting for is the Midsummer Fire Festival, but that's another day. Anyway.
A long time away.
So, anyway, Titan, rest in peace, and hopefully someday we'll maybe find out a little more and see some development pieces from this game, because I'd love to understand a little more about the game. 7 years is a long time. I'm sure they've got something that we could look at.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we'll pour a couple out for them. Goodbye.
I'll pour some water out. That's what we're talking about, water.
Yeah, okay, we'll all pour a little bit of water out into our mouths, and we're done.
Yeah, just water.
Okay. So, the next topic we've got here is a BlizzCon sneak peek. So, BlizzCon's happening November 7th and 8th, just a couple months out. Basically, we want to share with you guys 5 things you can look forward to from BlizzCon. There's a World of Warcraft Gromlock pet. So, basically, this is a baby Murloc in-game pet that impersonates Grommash. It has, like, its own little Gorehowl. Yeah, it's got its own little Gorehowl. So this is kind of some in-game goodies you can get if you watch via the virtual ticket or attend the thing. There's also a StarCraft 2 portraits and decals. So this is a portrait of Hierarch Artanis and another icon that has not been revealed yet. And you get a Heroes of the Storm themed decal. So that's cool if you're a StarCraft player. I know there are a lot out there still. You also get a Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft Blizzard 2014 card back, so you get a new commemorative card back, which has a compass design emblazoned in Blizzard's courtyard, and it can be used in your deck. For Diablo 3, there's a Warlords of Draenor weapons transmog set. Basically, your heroes can be outfitted with 6 different weapon transmogrification appearances inspired by Warlords of Draenor.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
That's interesting crossover, too.
Unlike the portraits, but,
Unlike the portraits.
And also for Heroes of the Storm, you get a Nexus mount and portrait. Basically, you get a Nexus Charger and a Nexus Brawler portrait.
And they're already starting to support Heroes of the Storm.
When the heck does that even come out? Like, for the
never,
public?
Never from now, probably.
I signed up for the beta like 12 months ago, a year ago. I don't know why I said 12 months.
12 months?
Still in the alpha.
But,
oh boy.
Yeah, me too.
So there are some goodies you can get if you do decide to get the virtual ticket. Of course, we'll be giving you guys as much coverage as we can from the event, but we've still got a couple months. We just wanted to let you know that there are some cool stuff that you can get in the game. I really always wanted to get like that one of those first Murloc pets that came out.
I know. I see people running around with them. Man, it made me mad.
Or jelly.
No, just mad mainly.
You remember the Murloc costume that you could turn into?
Yeah, and yeah. You know what I always hated? They had the vendor that sold all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, and you
could talk to him.
You didn't have the code.
It was like, you don't have the, I was just like, don't talk to me like that. I'm an adult, alright?
I have 10,000 gold. I have a code.
Jesus.
But yeah.
Oh boy. That's pretty much all the news that we have this week. We're going to move right on to Trade Chat. This is the area of the show where you get your voice heard, and it's a chance for us to interact with the community. We've already heard a little bit from Trevor, but just wanted to shout out to him. He's always good to hear from. We've also heard from Ao this week. He's new to the guild on Emerald Dream. Our guild is called PFL, but Ao joined this week, and we heard a lot from him. At least I did, and I got to chat with him. Really cool guy, and just let us know that he's very on board with Lane joining us in Azeroth.
Yeah.
At any rate, we'd love to hear from you guys. If you want to shoot us a line, our email is pals@palsforlife.net.
And also just want to say to Trevor and Ao, I know that we don't always get on a whole lot. We're a little busy, but, once the expansion comes out, we're definitely going to make a lot more time. And we've all been talking about, making more time to have set times that we all play and stuff. So hopefully we'll be a little more interactive with that if we can.
So we're going to go ahead and close this out. Thanks for the group, and thanks for tuning in this week. Please feel free to share any questions, comments, complaints, or anything else to pals@palsforlife.net. And to listen to any of our previous episodes, check out our website, palsforlife.net. And of course, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Until next time, this has been Pals for Life.
See
y'all later. Hey, Wilson, you forgot to talk about the time-lapse prototype you don't have, and that people need to show screenshots of it.
I was like...
It's Elmo's World.
Wow.
Yeah. Dragon tail.
Scooby-Doo, the dragon tail. Come along.
You take my hand. That's what happens when you go to the bathroom, Lane.
Dragon tails. Okay, keep going.